All right, howdy everybody. What's going on? Hey, most of this stuff you already know, but just in case, I'm just going to go through everything that I do. And this is a good refresher for me because sometimes I forget stuff. So it's not, there's 100 different ways to do things, and this is just one of them. So when I set up, let's see, go into a brand new login computer. The first thing you want to do is make sure all your drives are there. If you're missing some, sometimes mapping helps. Sometimes you have to get engineering to do it for you. So you click on My PC, or this PC down here. And then up on the top, you got Access Media and you got Map Network Drives. I'll click that. Map Network Drive. Okay, now you see this folder pop up with all the drives. They should all be there. R drive is now Creative Services. So if you have to send something to ITX, there you go. Y drive, but now they added a long title to it. Okay, and this PC panel right here, you see your drives pop up. I'm going to show you how to make a couple quick shortcuts. When we download stuff like photos, you should default it right to your desktop, but before you edit, drag it into the Still Photos folder. So I open up Y drive, and here's the folder, Still Photos. If you right click on it, you can send to, and then desktop create shortcut. Now what that does right there on my desktop, I got a shortcut for the folder. So that way when you download photos from the web or wherever, they go to your desktop, but immediately drag them right into the shortcut. So there it is. That way you don't have to navigate through the Y drive every time. And when you do download photos, make sure they're in the Still Photos folder before you edit with them. That way if another editor wants to grab them later, they're there. Thank you. Okay, the next thing you want to do before you even log into Adobe is get your apps, make sure they work, such as Bit Central. If you can't find them on your desktop, look under your programs in here, and if you right click, you can pin them to your taskbar. And what that'll do is tilt down. That'll send them down here to the bottom, so they're always there. Now I use Chrome a lot for my browser. I can log in with a user and password, and that way all my bookmarks follow me. I can go to a brand new computer, pop up Chrome and log in, and everything follows me. So I use that for my Outlook at home, Extreme Reach, and other things. You can also do the same as Firefox and Internet Explorer. Otherwise, make sure you go through your bookmarks and save which ones you want. Either just write them down or print them out, because when you log in, you're going to be starting from scratch. All right, now let's assume we're all logged in, hooked up to the internet, and we're good to go. So let's fire up Premiere, and I'll go through the way I like to set it up. And if you like the way you do it, then I guess that's fine too. Okay, on the startup screen, we're going to hit New Project. Now we got to hit the browser as far as where we save it at. So when you hit Browse, you have to come back to the Create Media folder, which is the Y drive, and in Projects, which we all already know, and whatever day. So today is Wednesday, so I'll double click Wednesday and hit Select. So we all know how to do that, so that's no problem. Okay, when you first set up, your screen will look like this with all your information down in the lower left-hand panel. Now, some people have been used to editing like that, and that's fine, whatever works for you. But I'm just going to show you how I set it up. And maybe you think I'm crazy, but this is the way I do it. Okay, I grab the Project tab, and as I move it around, I'm holding down my mouse. And now that I move it way to the left and see how it's green, let go, that means this whole thing is my project. So show it up on the left. So I moved it from down below to the left. Now I can click and drag this over. And it's really slow since I'm on workspace. So I like it how my project lines up here, because I usually end up with 100 clips and they all line up here. Now my sequence is going to be down here. So you can grab the bars when you see the line, just drag it over. Now you got a little work panel down here, which I like to keep on effects. So we don't need library. So if you click the bar, just hit close panel. That'll get rid of libraries. You don't need info. Just close the panel. You don't need you don't need markers. Close the panel. And history, we can click on that and hit close panel. And so I know a lot of people like their media browser. So you can leave it here, or if you want to move your media browser, make it bigger. I don't use the media browser because it's too slow in workspaces for me, so whatever works. So I close my media browser. But you can put it wherever you want. If you'd rather have your media browser over here and leave your projects down here, just get used to moving the boxes around. So when the box is blue, like this, if I click just below the top blue line and hold down the mouse, see, I can move it over. Now it could be a side panel. If I want it to be a tab, you move it up here. And kind of experiment. Occasionally you accidentally do that and it gets all wacky. So what to do, as soon as you got it set up the way you want it, just pull down the menu and hit save and type in whatever you want to call it, Fox or your name or whatever. So now every time you log in, that will be in the upper right hand corner and it'll save this layout. Okay, once you got your layout set up, we got to go into preferences and set everything up. So you go edit up in the upper left hand corner, and down below you got preferences. Click on that and just click on general. That's going to pull up the whole tab. Okay, here's your general preferences window, ready to go. General, and then next underneath that is appearance. You can adjust the brightness, and I usually leave it dark, but for this video I left it up a little bit high so you can see it better. Okay, your audio, I'm not sure how it defaults. Some buttons might be turned off, turn on. The main one is play audio while scrubbing. So you turn that on, that way when you're scrubbing through your clips, you can hear the audio. Everything else isn't that important for right now. Hardware we don't need to worry about if we're remote. If you're at the station, I think you have to plug in the Blackmagic, but it might default to that, so we'll see. Auto save. Go ahead, hit auto save, make it every 5 minutes or so. And then it doesn't matter what your maximum project versions are, 1 or 2. This defaults at 5, so we'll just leave it at 5. Every 5 minutes, the auto save. Okay, capture, we don't do any capturing. Collaboration, we don't do that. Device control, nothing. Labels, we don't do anything. Okay, down to media. There's a few things that we have to do. The main thing is the default media scaling right here. Make sure that's scaled to frame size. That way when you import odd video codecs or photos, this will automatically make them full screen. Or if you have an SD clip, drag it into your HD sequence like we edit on, it's going to show up full size. It won't be scrunched down. So make sure that's on. Nothing else is that important right now. Your media cache. Uncheck this box here. That saves, when you import media, it makes those little metadata files. So it's better if they're not saved in the folders. So turn that off. You can automatically delete the cache, turn that on. And you can do it every 10 days or so. So far we haven't had that many problems with that. Now your memory here, I optimize it for performance. These computers are pretty rocking. So you can drag the RAM reserved for other apps left and right. I usually leave it at, I've been leaving it at like 6 or 8. And that way you give 20 gigs to your Adobe, which is good. So your Adobe could rock. I don't know if like if your bit central's running slow, if you can go back and change that to a higher number, give more RAM to that. I'm not sure if that even works, but that's so there you go. Playback we don't need. Now if you're at the station, you have to engage Blackmagic so you can see your monitor. And Amazon remote, we don't do anything with that. Sync settings, nothing. Okay, your timeline. Now this is a lot of changes in timeline. Up on top is your default transition. So when you're adding a dissolve, you can just right click, add a default dissolve. Usually that at 20 frames. Now remember, we're at 60 frames a second. So if you want a 1 second huge dissolve, that'd be 60 frames. So 20 frame dissolve is about a third of a second. So in the old school, 10 frames. So that's pretty quick dissolve, looks good. I think it defaults at 1 second, which is way kind of too much. That's too big of a dissolve for news. And your audio, change that to frames, and maybe like 6 or 7 frames, just so if you have a little hit in your audio, you can add a quick little dissolve in there. I set my still image to 40 seconds. So when you import a photo, it automatically is 40 seconds in length, and that's kind of our minimum for a VO, so just drag it on. Playback scroll, I don't do that. That's just on page scroll. I don't know if you even need that. And the mouse scrolling, keep that on vertical. So when you scroll, if you have a mouse with the scroll wheel, it goes up and down. Okay, in your default audio tracks, make sure everything is kicked over to mono. That way when you import like a song or some stereo audio, you don't get 2 channels of audio on 1 track. So put everything on mono so you get 1 channel of audio on 1 track, and that makes life a lot easier. All right, that's all we need on here. Let's hit OK. Okay, our Adobe's all set up, so let's go ahead and set up our sequence. So we'll go to File, New, Sequence. You can also do Control N. Okay, here's the sequence panel that pops up from Adobe. What we want is XDCAM EX 720, keep opening the windows, 720/60. So XDCAM EX, open 720, and then select P60. That gives us our base layer for our sequence. Okay, we're leaving this panel open. Now we're going to come up and hit tracks. So you want to add another track of audio. You need 4 tracks. Because that way when you import footage, like the camera footage has 4 audio tracks, you want to make sure you have 4 preset in your sequence. If you only have 3, that 4th audio track will like pop in sometimes by itself and kind of mess you up. So make sure your sequence has 4, and you want to change the track type to mono. Kind of like how we were talking about before, so you don't have multiple channels of audio in your tracks. And then on the pan balance over here, we're going to go left, right, left, right. That's simply so you have channels 1 and 3 are on your left, 2 and 4 are on your right. Okay, now that you have that set up, just hit Save Preset and just call it Edit Master, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now that it's time to make a new sequence, hit Control New or New Sequence. And in the bottom of your choices, you have a folder that says Custom. And inside there, you'll see your Edit Master. Click on that. So just give your sequence a name now. Just cut and paste it from the line in the rundown. That usually works the best. And hit OK. All right, and here's your sequence. It has 3 channels of video, which is okay, in case you want to come back and add photos or background or something. And there's your 4 channels of audio. Now to expand these, which I'm sure everybody knows, but I'll just go through it. If you lower your mouse until it gets the black line right there, click and hold it, and it drags it up. That drags up the whole thing. If you want your audio bigger, same thing. Come over here, drag it down about 1 inch. That makes your audio 1 bigger, and do the same thing to here. That makes your audio 2 bigger. Okay, the next thing to do before we start editing, we got to map a few things to our keyboard. So come up here to Edit, click on that, scroll down to Keyboard Shortcuts. Click on Keyboard Shortcuts. This brings up a map of our keyboard. Now anything you want your keys to do on your keyboard, you can change it here. Okay, the most important thing to map is the Attach to Rundown for playback. In the search tool right there, just start typing attach Okay, it shows up right here. Click on it once. Okay, let's make F11 our shortcut to attach the rundown. So what we'll do is click and hold F11. It's blue. So I'm going to grab it and drag it down. See it turn blue? I'm still holding the mouse. And I'm going to let go. Boom. Now when you hit F11, that's attached to rundown. Okay, I have a Mac keyboard, and that means that my F11 doesn't work because it turns up the volume. So to map a different key, I chose randomly Shift Y. So I'm going to hold down the Shift and grab the Y. I'm holding down Shift, grab the Y square here, see? I'm dragging that into attach to rundown. Letting go of everything. Boom. And there you go. Now if I hit Shift Y, it'll attach to rundown. Or F11. And then for me, I'm just going to delete the F11. So there you go. Okay, the second thing I want to map to our keyboard is the title tool, just to make life easier. And it's called Legacy Title. So just start typing in Legacy, and there it is right here. Now I want to bring just map the T to it. So coming up to my keyboard, I'm holding down the T, I'm dragging it down. See it turn blue? Now if I let go, there's the T. That way when you make graphics, that pulls up the simple graphic tool, boom, you're good to go.